Hi, my name is Angela. I am a PGY2 ambulatory care resident, and in this video I'm going to be talking about just general health in residency and why I think it's important to pay attention to your health. Mental health is a huge topic, not only in the world of pharmacy, but other professions, especially the medical profession. So I wanted to talk about health in general, though, not just your mental health, but your physical health and really emotional health. And just how my training went in terms of my health journey, to give you an expectation of maybe what you might go through if you're considering this type of career. But definitely just my opinion and my experience. So I kind of break it down into the different stages of my training: pharmacy school, PGY1, and then PGY2 year. So in pharmacy school, my mental health was pretty good. It came to kind of a more difficult spot in my in my P2 year. We had the heaviest amount of curriculum and tests in that year. So I just kind of got down about how many tests there were and how much information was new. Nothing seemed familiar. So P3 year got a little bit easier, but still a lot of new stuff. And I started picking up responsibilities in organizations and other things and work. So starting a job and getting work relationships into the mix, you have a little bit more friction at times because everyone is working and balancing a lot of other things. Work drama is always a thing. So that was just kind of my mental health. Not too many difficulties, but P4 year was probably the hardest mental health wise. I really struggled with the fact that we have to do rotations month to month. And it's not that big a deal in terms of, doing rotations. I guess that's not the issue. But I moved basically every single month. I know some pharmacy schools, you don't move around, you stay within like a health system or a certain town. I moved to several different towns or sites, and that took a toll on me, having to move things all the time and not having a stable home base. Emotionally, I think I've kind of described some of that, but I got really nervous about treating patients and nervous I was going to hurt someone after I started realizing how complicated guidelines were. So that was something that was a struggle starting about my P2 year. I also got really nervous about my future career path, and then got really nervous about not getting a residency program potentially. So I think everyone kind of goes through that. Maybe it kind of helps fuel you to be a better candidate. I don't know. But that was definitely something that arose as soon as I knew I wanted to do residency. And then I kind of got this interest in academia, and I was nervous that that would have to make me change my future career path as well. So those are kind of emotional things. And then physical wise, the stress of school definitely impacted my physical health, weight, my gut health, acne. All those things were just ebbing and flowing with whatever test I had going on or whatever organization thing I had to contribute to. I had a pretty consistent exercise routine, which I felt really helped my sleep. So my sleep was pretty good. But P4 year was not so good because I was moving around all the time. So in P4 year, I decided to get a counselor because I really wanted to figure out why I was having all these changes to my health, and I just didn't have good coping mechanisms. So I started about in the middle of my P4 year. It really was something that I found lifted me up pretty quickly, and I was pretty resistant going in. So I wish I would have done that earlier, honestly, and the start of my pharmacy training. So now in PGY1 residency, I had a lot of life events that were really stressful. So my mental health tanked. It was terrible. I thought if I didn't have that, I tried to picture, what would have happened. I think my mental health would have been pretty good until October. October was really tough, a lot of deadlines, a lot of things. So work was just depressing because it was just felt like so much and no time for myself. And then we were also in the middle of kind of figuring out PGY2 choices. It did feel good at times, though, to finally be a pharmacist. But, with that comes staffing, and staffing was just a huge, huge stressor. I think for most people, it's one of the biggest stressors in residency. So emotionally, after just finishing pharmacy school, you're going into more rigorous training. I just really struggled every day to show up as like my best, positive, I'm ready to go. It just is really different than school. There's not a lot of sit down learning. It's all application. It's all new stuff. It's all, more higher level application and evaluation. And you don't get to see people as consistently as you used to. You know, you don't get to see your class. You get to see your co-residents, but they're honestly on other rotations or in other places. So you get to meet a lot of new people, but not a lot to me are consistently there and present. I also moved away at this time from like my home, so I would say about half the time that was great. And again, I think the life events just made it to where it wouldn't be even higher or a better experience. So that's kind of a personal thing, but I didn't realize how huge support from friends and family would be in residency. So if you're kind of thinking that that won't be something you'll struggle with, just consider it and try to see, you know, if I was in a really stressful time and I didn't have family or long-term friends around me, what would I feel like? Just something to think about. And then my physical health, I think I just didn't have as much time to focus on it, so everything pretty much stayed as crazy as it did in pharmacy school. And I didn't have as consistent of a workout routine, so my sleep got much worse. So just physical health, not the best, and you just don't have too much time to focus on it. And for myself, I struggled to really focus on that when I should. So having to have mentors and teachers tell me that was important for me. So then now my PGY2 residency training, I entered PGY2 just very burnt out. Really, really annoyed that I had to move again. All this time I'd been talking with my counselor. You know, I forgot to mention in PGY 1 year, I ended up going on an antidepressant because I needed something to stabilize my mood. Counseling just wasn't enough, and it really helped. I absolutely felt so much more stable on that one. So I definitely appreciated that, again, which wouldn't have come except for my counselor. So PGY2 residency training, you know, the burnout was just a different kind of thing to balance, and I just struggled with more and more things. It was just hard for me to adjust, harder to adjust than it had been all the other times when I've had to adjust to a new environment and a new program. But it's gotten better. I now make it I make a very regular practice to identify what's struggling in my life and then bring it to my counselor and just say, okay, well, that's something we're going to talk about. I still struggled to show up as my best in PGY2 year consistently, and I was now around family, which helped, but when you're one of the only people going through these types of training programs and stuff, it's hard to feel like you are understood or that you fit in with the rest of the people around you. It was really tough going through that interview experience when I tried to find my future job, just because depending on who you are, you might have to travel a lot. You kind of are going through a lot of questions of like, okay, well, this is no longer residency training or no longer school. What do I want? What do I want after this? So there's different things I struggled with than I did before, just trying to find a residency or a PGY2. I can't really say much about physical health other than it just still was all over the place and struggling. So I ended up kind of switching around my medicines for mood stabilization, and it just kind of ended up that I don't think I'm going to end up being on one because it's hard to find the right one for you. And it just changed, my life changed, so the other one didn't work as well as it used to. I also feel like my immunity was not very good this year because I got sick a lot, oftentimes during breaks, which is, I feel like, the worst time to get sick. But it happened, and I don't know how much it attributed to my residency training and the stress from that. But the overall takeaway from this video is that you will have a lot of changes likely to your mental, physical, and emotional health. I feel like it's really good to have a counselor or someone who you can find really good coping mechanisms. The earlier the better, and then also get medication if you need it. You should be seeing your doctor regularly, probably twice a year, for checks on your mental and physical health. If you can exercise regularly, I bet that will help your sleep and help your overall mood. And if you can get some healthy, good food in, I think that probably would have helped me a lot of times too. But just know that you will have a lot of different changes, and everyone's different. Some people have a great, easy time in residency, but you're not alone if you have all these shifts in your mental, emotional, and physical health. So hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions or want me to expand on anything more, just put it in the comments below. Otherwise, I will see you guys next time. Thanks.